available online later on. If you're not happy with this, please leave the meeting now. Thank you. Over to you, Chair. Thank you. Welcome to this special meeting. We have one item. Any apologies? Any declarations of interest? We'll move on to the report, the right tree in the right place. I think Chase is leading on this. Thank you, Chair. Remember a while back, we brought an item before the authority, two INRS schemes that we presented to Welsh Government. One for regenerative farming, which is a pilot project with a small cluster of farms, and another one, the right place and the right tree in the right place. Working on a landscape level, so both projects are worth around 1.6 million between both of them. When we put the scheme together, the original understanding was that the salary structure would be on the flat rate from Welsh Government, and that's how we planned both projects. And that followed the model that Ffermio Bro used at the time. But in the meantime, the goalposts have changed, or the structure has changed, and we missed it. And what's happened is that the Welsh Government have stuck to a flat salary scale in different bands. But because of the way that the authority employs people, it doesn't match with our structures, with the pay bands that we pay, or the rate that they pay. So the rates don't match either. So we're working on costs of pension and insurance of 30%, but the Welsh Government pays 16.8%, which causes problems because it doesn't reach the living wage standards either. But anyway, for what they're paying, as we start this project, we led you to believe that it would be cost neutral because that's what we thought at the time. So we've had to backtrack now to see what the implications are and what the actual costs will be. And as you can see in the appendix, part of the problem that we have now, that they pay per hour. That's how they work out their costs. But we'd look at a pro rata rate, so it makes it slightly more difficult to track. There's a correction in the appendix as well. The officers for the regenerative farming officers are on the top. The titles are in the wrong place. I apologize for that. But you see the range of costs and the difference between them. Part of the problem that we've had with delaying bringing this forward and why we've included a special meeting today is the system of working Welsh Government at the moment is quite difficult. They're very slow coming back to us with information and any decisions as well. So since you received these papers, we have received confirmation that the original project was supposed to finish in September 2028, which gave us very short window to work in such a short period of time. It was difficult to appoint people with the necessary skills within that time frame. So we have pleaded to extend the project until March 2029. We felt that that was okay. We're not asking for any additional funding. It's within the same financial year. And that's the delays in the scheme from the government's perspective have held us back. And they agreed last week to give us that extension until March 2029. So you can disregard really the last column, but one for 24 months. We're now looking at the recruitment process is ready to go. We just need to get the translation of the final documents so that we can advertise them. And Catherine is on that, fair play to her. So we think that if you approve it today, that we would go on to recruit over the summer and hopefully have someone in place by September, October at the latest. And we'd be able to provide them a 31-month contract, which puts you in the final column with regards to costs. These costs are at the highest level because they're scored at the top of the scale. So that's the worst case scenario, if you like. The only other variable to consider, but since we've been given 2 full years to complete the project, there's something I'd like your leadership on. We could possibly offer 2 apprenticeships, but we'd cost it for 1. But since we have 2 years, we could possibly give someone an opportunity for a which would add a little bit to the cost, but it's something that for you to consider. So this sets out the difference between what we accept and what the real costs are, the costs that we're facing on the top of the scale. And then at the bottom, you see £101,000 additional, £101,000, which would be the cost for us as an authority. We've been very careful in the department over the years. Since we're budgeting on the LIFE project, we have been quite conservative with our annual expenditure. And we've saved money and put it into reserves for the end of the LIFE project and for match funding for other projects. So Sian has told me that I have to spend it as well, that we have to in the reserves budget. So the department can meet this cost. Personally, I do feel it does give good value for money. Yes, it is a large sum of money and an unexpected sum of money, and I do apologize for our mistake on this, but it still brings 1.6 million to the local area. We'll employ a large number of officers and further employment. So I hope that the value for money is quite evident there. And it would also help us to meet the 30 by 30 targets, the woodland strategy targets. So there are a lot of benefits there. It's just that we misled you right at the start when we said it was cost neutral. And that was what we had aimed for, really. Would anyone like to make a comment or ask any questions? Can I just ask a question? You talked that the project will continue until March 2029. Because if we didn't recruit, oh no, it makes sense now. Sorry, I misread that. Yes, I thought you said 2028. The regenerative farming has started to incur costs with training for farmers, for example. So really, we have it's the woodland one. We could refuse this and return the money, which wouldn't look good there, but it is something that we could consider. There are no costs incurred so far. How the government funds things, has it changed, or is this just a mistake? It has changed twice in a short period of time, which has been frustrating. They've changed their procedures, definitely, yes. Because I'm not as I don't make mistakes like this usually, but they caught us out. Yes, they have changed how they work, and it does impact the INS project. It did impact the Ffermio Brosol, but we've been able to navigate that. What was difficult is that the information stream doesn't happen in a timely manner. So you take decisions and they take decisions and they implement them, but they don't tell you what they've changed that immediately. But that it is my fault. I should have double-checked everything when we received the contract. It has highlighted the concern there. the on-cost, the level of on-cost, it's not, they aren't sufficient. Even without the internal, without the mistake that was made, it wouldn't have been able to be cost neutral, really. But for the future, we were told this week that the NRS projects on Ffermio Bro are moving to the same team. And looking optimistically at the situation, that gives us more of an opportunity to have those discussions with one person, as opposed to talking to a number of different people on this. And it's something that we can feed back so they consider in the future the way that they fund similar projects in the future. Because it has been a problem this time. Lots of these structures have been drawn up for self-employed people. For self-employed people completing things for groups of farmers. But as an authority, we're slightly different and with higher costs. And that's why the salary bands don't match. I like to think that the Welsh Government officers, their on costs are quite similar to what the authorities' costs are. So when I put the project together and then put the EOI in, they said, oh yes, there's a flat rate of salary, and it was quite simple. So we drew up the project in a way, and then confusion happened afterwards. Does anyone else have a question?
Salamatu?
Salamatu?
Yes, yeah. I think my thought is in line with the last speaker. I'm just wondering how this can affect other projects in future. If we have to make up for the gap that is funded by the Welsh Government income. So is it possible to make it very clear at the beginning that this is what is required for any project, not only this one, but the ones in future, so that you don't have all these gaps of, I'm wondering how you have to make up the money to pay whoever you're going to put into that position or post. So that is, we have to look for a sustainable way to work, because looking for 101,000 today may be okay and approving it, but if it continues, then it's going to add pressure, a lot of pressure to the way we work.
I think the information that we have now, the way that the salaries work, and we will be giving Welsh Government feedback, obviously, in relation to this. As we plan projects in the future, we will be in a better situation to understand what the costs will be to the authority. And that is a factor in the decision of the officers and the members when considering whether or not a project is of value for money. We do have the information now, and in order to undertake that assessment, and we don't want to be in this situation that we're in now, again with new projects. I think, Chairman, with all of the projects that we've undertaken in the past, we've delivered them very effectively indeed. And obviously we're bringing new projects in front of the authority to be confirmed with full costs normally. Well, every time, in fact, except for this case, we've been caught out this time around. And I'm quite comfortable that we are effective in the way that we work, except for this particular example. I don't think it's Salamatu. It's not an endemic issue that's happened over the years. We've been unlucky with this one, but in general, with the size of the projects that go through our hands, it's not systematic. Joel?
Just playing devil's advocate, if we were to make this cost neutral to the authority, how many hours would have to be lost from that current proposal?
It's not a matter of how many hours you'd lose, because the rate that they pay per hour is fixed. and the rate that we pay per hour is also fixed. So there's a discrepancy or an imbalance there from the word go. Even if it was just a 1 hour contract, it would still cost the authority. So it's either we withdraw in its entirety and send back essentially 999,000. And I'm not sure how that would go down with Welsh Government in terms of our delivery status, or we're incurring the cost, really.
That makes sense.
We did have a look at balancing things and scaling back to what the capital of the revenue total was. And if it was just a total allowance per year, we'd be fine. We could do as you do envisage, cut the cloth to fit the job. But because they're on an hourly rate and that we're claiming against that, we're a little bit stuck.
Okay, with that in mind, with that in mind, then, if you as an officer are happy, I'd be happy to propose that we go with the recommendation.
No, vote.
Does anybody else want to? Well, we've just had the seconder for that proposal. Does anybody else want to speak before we move to the motion? Anyone? Okay. Everybody in favour of the recommendation? Show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. Can I thank you as an authority for your understanding? I'm confident that we're moving in the right direction. Thank you very much. That's it for today. Short and sweet. Many thanks.